Gerai, na o dabar mes nieko nelaukdami šokame į dar vieną mūsų pokalbį, į dar vieną Wanted pokalbį, kurio tema bus W8, B4, UGO, Global Career at your Doorstep. Žodžiu, čia bus kažkaip. Norėčiau Jums pristatyti šios frazės autorių. Draugai, įmonės Litafuse mokslinių tyrimų ir plėtros skyriaus vadovas Europai ir Šiaurės Amerikai, Jovirdas Linkauskas. Turit fanų? Sveiki.
Ačiū, fanum.
O tam, kad mes galėtumėm išsiaiškinti, kągi reiškia tie reikalai, ką čia... Man atrodo, mums teks persijungti į anglų kalbą. Can English?
Yes, a bit normal, good.
No, because I too. In my televisor is Cartoon Network, CNN, good canals.
Johnny Bravo, yes.
Oh, yes,
Good.
yes. So anyways, the topic of our conversation is Wait Before You Go, the global career at your doorstep.
Yeah.
First of all, you're from Klaipėda.
Yes.
And currently you're living in Klaipėda.
Yes, that's correct as well.
How come well, you have a very nice job position. How come you stay in Klaipėda? Is it possible to have a good job in Klaipėda? I mean...
Yeah, it is possible probably. And of course, I'm not paid by Klaipėda municipality to say that it is like the best place to live. But just in general, I believe that you still can live in Klaipėda and still can have brilliant opportunities around. And it's 21st century. You don't need to be there.
So you were born in, you're like a native Klaipėdinian.
Yes, we call it Klaipėdiškis.
I don't know the correct term. So, where'd you grow up? What kind of neighborhood was that?
So probably as majority of the ones who of my age grew up in towns, so it was just so-called Khrushchevka region, or like
the hood,
multi-story buildings, flats and so on. So it's traditional stuff with a lot of kids around and school nearby, and yeah.
What was your first acquaintance with the outside world? Like, what was your first acquaintance with the Western world?
Okay, so maybe brief story. It was exactly where West Germany made shoes, sport shoes. We had some relatives who were living, family members in Germany, and we were sending sometimes a bit of stuff. And mainly my acquaintance was at school, so over times I've got in front of my class, and geographic subject teacher was asking me why I'm wearing, Western, looking for a word which is not swearing word, crap.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was kind of, and I explained that it was more like, it's still convenient and it's kind of a good to use. And they've got an explanation that, Soviet Union was fighting huge war, and, all the industry was ruined there. And because of that, we cannot afford, to have similar good shoes and so on. And how to say, my career limiting moment at that time, it was like 8th or 9th grade was, I managed to say that, but Germany is not the one who has won the war. And yeah, so this was my kind of a first acquaintance with Western world and maybe products and so on.
Were you longing for the Western values early in your life?
I don't know. I cannot say this way. So it was definitely not like materialism. It's not maybe about,
the sense of it all being wrong. Were you thinking like the country that these shoes are from is probably better because these shoes are from there and they're they're better than Lithuanian Inkaras.
Probably Inkaras were also quite good products, when you were bringing Inkaras to like Germany. So once my relatives saw the Inkaras I was wearing, they were also very surprised, maybe in a different way. But in general, probably for myself, I was more like always keen to, how to say, to compete or to look, whether I can still match, the bigger like challenges. So also given that maybe in the Western world there is some different technologies or maybe different companies and different culture of the working culture. To me, it was always interesting, to think, is it something I can also kind of reach, and am I competitive as a person, not necessarily for a particular business area and so on. So
were you competitive as a person?
I believe so. Yes, I am.
Well, what kinds of competitions were you into at the time?
Oh, so it's starting, from school, all the, even like math Olympics in Lithuania we were doing at schools, and even sports. So previously I was also at swimming. So maybe because it was individual sports, so it's also was, always try to compete, to look, who is better, not only in your village, like Klaipėda, sorry, for the ones from Klaipėda, but still I believe it's still small town. But still, what
small
does it mean for you?
Small town is the politically correct term.
Yes, okay, thank you. So yeah, but in general, if you are good in Klaipėda, so are you good, for example, for Kaunas, for Vilnius, or for London, and for like other regions?
Well, I heard that you're quite a swimmer. You have a lot of silverware and goldware and back home. You've got a lot of medals.
No, but it also depends on what you are comparing to, So I'm not Olympics kind of a games winner or something. So this is why
it doesn't matter as long as you kicked someone's ass.
Oh. So yeah, it depends. If you're looking, do you have still someone behind you? So definitely you can find someone.
Absolutely.
But I think it's more maybe looking also, do you have someone in front of you?
So you were an athlete and
and good at maths, let's say this way.
Let's not use the slur. So math was always something you were good at?
Yeah.
And did you ever have any other passions besides the passion to math and the sports? Like, were you into arts at all?
No, at least during the school years, it was more mainly just, physics, maths, and similar things, and sports. Just later on, maybe some more hobbies evolved. But yeah, I cannot treat myself being very strong, at philology or, arts history. So, and I'm admitting that.
How important do you think it is to find your passion early, as early as possible in your life when pursuing your career?
I don't know, if it is more important to say that you need to find it as early as possible. I think maybe more important thing is just at least to have passion for something. So it's more, if you think that, nothing drives you and, you don't know what are the goals you would like to reach, or, what makes you awake in the middle of the night, probably it's more important than saying, is it about to be happening at 12th year, kids had, 14, 18, or 25. Maybe when it is 80, maybe it might be a bit too late, but maybe it's still not the worst case.
What was who were your childhood heroes?
Wow.
Nikita Khrushchev?
No, probably that was not the case. And honestly, yeah, I cannot like.
Well, he was the idol of the entrepreneurship in in the country
and of the changes, right?
Yeah,
right,
the change,
the new wave and new
wave of ideas.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at least it was not Khrushchev. Yeah.
So did you have any heroes like people that you looked up to?
No, it was more maybe just at least if we are looking still at the school years, so it was more maybe just looking, of the ones who are in science, or at least known ones around, or maybe some elder ones who already like graduated at universities and are like, working in some scientific centers, but it was more like from the closer circle. So it was not something like, worldwide known.
No celebrities.
Name. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is probably because it was still Soviet times era, let's say this way, because I graduated my secondary school at 1992. So, it was not that much yet around, even though it still was a lot of opportunities, for further education. And
was becoming a scientist a dream of yours?
No,
'Cause you said-
it
you
was
said-
more like applying skills, I mean, but more for the things you can apply, in reality. So maybe it was more like which drove me to engineering subject, not necessarily only scientific field, of only, in the lab sitting and doing maybe sometimes even experiments which you cannot after that apply in the real world. So maybe this was the...
Well, what was the dream then? Like to build a spaceship or...
Yeah, so if maybe a couple of years ago I was reviewing my old school years physics textbooks and also what I was drawing at that time. So there were a lot of crazy ideas, and I was smiling for myself, just looking about
Oh, great, let's hear some of them.
gravitation field, and what would be the spaceship, to still have gravity in the spaceship, even though around there is no gravity, for people to live, even though. Right now, I'm looking into those.
That's a good
it's
idea.
almost nonsense in general, but
I would
but
invest in that kind of startup.
So we can think about that and maybe discuss that.
Yeah, let's
later.
launch a startup. I'll be the face guy. You'll be the numbers guy.
Okay, agreed.
All right. So, so you went to school to become a mathematician. Like you went to.
Yeah. So in general, if that would be from school, yes, I just want to ask the audience: is there anyone from Klaipėda at all? So yeah.
One guy.
So in Klaipėda there is now called Ąžuolynas Gymnasium, and previously it was 14th secondary school. So it was with mathematical subjects. So mainly
The elites.
Yes, and after that university it was applied
The math
mathematics.
jocks.
Yeah. So you can call it this way.
Okay, so then you went to university and you studied math and
Computer science. Mainly, yeah.
and computer science. So that's when. What was your first computer?
Yeah, it is famous. I don't know how many of you guys around know that, but it was one made in Lithuania called Santaka. So it was Sinclair-based
Santaka computer.
Yes.
Sounds scary.
One funny thing was it was everything in the magnetic cassettes, So that once you're playing music, so you also were able to record program there. And the method of transferring that to the computer and loading that, it was more like via sound, which kind of gets from your tape device, and just different buzzy kind of a sound gets that loaded. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Well, that's
So
that's.
I'm that old. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds very sophisticated. Santaka. That's definitely a name you should give to a computer.
Yes. That's Lithuanian roots.
The Russian microchips, biggest microchips in the world. So you got that. What was the experience with that computer? Because I guess, it being so powerful, you had to chain it down to a radiator or something, so it wouldn't run away to the woods.
Yeah, it was not that big, but in general, yeah, it was kind of at least good device, to start learning your programming skills and advancing. Because also in my kind of those school years, there was also so-called school called Jaunųjų programuotojų mokykla, so junior programmer school, and it was run in Vilnius.
Do you have no girlfriend school?
It was more interesting. There was no girlfriend school, but in general, you were taught to program there without computers. So mainly you were writing everything on paper, getting into the envelope, sending that to Vilnius. Some, professors were checking what you've done and coming back with your marks there, and you need to improve. So this is my kind of, how I was learning programming and objective programming. Yeah.
That's computer 1.0.
Yes. Industrial revolution, right?
Wow. Okay. Well, that was fun. What was it? What was the first What was the first feeling when you realized that the programming, it is not about computer, it's about pencil and papers,
and managing to send some letter.
Put stamp. This is computer.
Yeah. So this is why even Santaka was groundbreaking for me, right? But you can manage, to get result a bit quicker than 2 weeks time, when you are sending and waiting for an answer.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. And when did you get your first, I don't know, what was the first not the Lithuanian-made computer? Was it the...
Yeah, so it was already first year at university, so mainly...
Pentium?
It was not Pentium, it was 286.
286?
Processor, right, yeah.
Another monster.
Yeah. And we got that as a like donation from Sweden, and university was using that, and we were very proud of that. And yeah, so it was another kind of evolution of IT in Lithuania. Let's call it this way.
It did had games though, right?
Of course.
Of course. What
Yes.
kind of games
And
were?
floppy disks, with kind of big and smaller ones, and sometimes
The
you need
big
to load
ones.
like game for half an hour to play for 20 minutes and lose and so.
That but that taught you a lesson. That taught you to be patient, and that's
And
a
result
quality.
orientation, like right.
That's a
yeah.
quality that a lot of millennials don't have nowadays.
Mhm.
Do you think we should give them? We should give all the millennials like really slow devices so they would learn the patience.
We can dream this way. However, I don't think the recipes of 20-year history can go back into today's world. So probably there should be different recipes how to learn newer generation for patients with the modern devices, but maybe with some different application areas. But that's my opinion.
Absolutely. A lot of programmers play around in the sphere of hacking. Were you ever into that kind of
Of
stuff?
course not, never.
So what was the biggest catch of your never career?
No, it was more like a games, it's usually at
Yeah, like
university.
cracking NASA or
Yeah,
something.
making fun, of other
What was the biggest
computer
prank
classes.
what was the biggest prank that you pulled?
No, there was nothing around that. I was good kid.
Yeah, right.
So I can be called, also if you to look into the IT part, there is like the ones who still try to behave, let's say, in virtual world, like more like ethical hackers. So I cannot be like a professional in that way, but at least know some basics to make systems secure. So more on that side of the things.
You as a programmer, you don't have a Facebook account.
Facebook account in general,
Yeah.
I do have Facebook account.
Oh, it's just
So I'm not a programmer.
It's just under but is it under a nickname?
Yes, it is.
So no one could find you.
No, the ones who are kind of persistent enough definitely can find. But yeah, it's not just easily to get like into friends and so on because I'm too old-fashioned maybe.
Okay. What was your first job? How did you get your first job?
First job was because of my also computer skills, and I joined like a design agency mainly, and it was more about when you get similar things now cut, but previously it was also using the how to say plevele in English.
Tape.
But tape when you get like advertisement cut and so on. So and that's Plotter, and at that time in Klaipėda it was probably the second company which got it. So businessmen purchased that, and they had no clue how to use it. And we were looking for the ones who would
We
be
bought
able
a
to
thing,
manage it.
how-
So mainly I was in the right place at right time. And we said, look, we've got this kind of extremely expensive device, and we
fell
would
out
like
of
to
the
make
truck.
business, and can you kind of make it running? So mainly it was like my challenge also. So I've got my first job. Yeah.
What did you have a job interview?
Yes, it was more like, can you turn it on and show us how it is connected? So mainly it was my test, and they made it, and we
Yeah?
said, well
Okay.
done, you are hired.
All right. What was? How many job interviews have you had in your lifetime?
I don't know. Let's say probably definitely less than 10 if you are considering job interview, if you're applying for some particular company, even though you're running multiple job interviews still for the same position. So it was not like I have been changing a lot of companies, like 20 or something like that in my career, so probably it would be less than 10.
Did you have any bad ones?
I don't know what you call bad ones. Is it the bad one which you don't get a job,
When
or the
someone
bad one where you just start crying or something like
Yeah.
that?
So someone starts crying.
So no,
when you didn't get it, because we have a lot of young people who are still looking forward to their first job interview. What would be the tips on how to pass the test of the job creator?
So first of all, I think it's more like, for every single of us to understand and to agree what we want to reach, So what goal we are trying to get. at least I personally don't believe in the thing that you just apply for some job, and then to find out what this job is, or why do you apply it, and just maybe because it is fancy company, I will just apply, and whichever position I will get, I will have maybe very nice environment, and good people around. So maybe that was maybe, at least in my opinion, a bit kind of a risky thing. So it's more about, understanding so what I would like to get and what is my kind of aim there. Or in IT terms or programmers terms, let's say definition of done, at least defining for yourself. So when you will say that it is done, and just then aiming your all the research in that direction. And then it's easier for you also to understand and to evaluate, is it the result which kind of suffices you and you are okay? Or, I think probably the biggest challenge is usually when you don't know what you are expecting, and when you are getting something, you don't know, is it good or is it bad? Should you be happy or should you be worried? And then probably it is a problematic situation after that, and then you cannot make a decision. So what's next?
I believe you had a lot of opportunities to ditch and to go abroad and get a job in any other country. But instead, you stayed in Lithuania. How come?
Yeah, probably this is also maybe exactly just my personal path I was taking. So in my career, I was probably 2 times at the doorstep when I was thinking I need to get to some foreign country. It was not because, there was no money to buy some, I don't know, bread or milk or food for myself or my family. I was lucky enough not to be in similar situations. So it was more like for me always because of the challenges. So once I was working for international company in Lithuania, but it was more like, oil mining company. And as I was still running in IT, I was thinking, is it something for me where I can baseline myself to the worldwide engineers in IT? So what does it mean for you to be, in some global company, which is in top 10 or 20 of the corporations, and to be in IT?
You wanted to be a small fish in a big pond.
No, I wanted to kind of exactly to be this kind of, more. It was more about challenges and, competition. So if I think I am good, so to what level this good is. And it was more like, okay, so if there are some worldwide known brands, and if you can join, for example, and to work on those projects there, so is it still something you can match, or is it something already too much for you, or too stretching? So,
okay.
And I was lucky enough that probably all those two cases ended up with me getting opportunities because, I don't know, accidentally or not accidentally, getting similar things already brought into Lithuania. So mainly it ended up, in this kind of a challenge area that exactly at the moment, or at least 6-month period when I was thinking, okay, what would be the corporation maybe in London and somewhere else where I would like, to prove myself. Barclays came to Lithuania and headhunters approached me and saying, would you like, to kind of expand your career in multinational environment and, corporate environment and so on. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, of course, I was already considering for that. So, world is coming to Lithuania rather than just for me, getting out to the world. And mainly it ended up with me joining Barclays establishing here in Lithuania. And I think I've got that at my doorstep, still with my family, in Klaipėda or village near Klaipėda, and I found it very fascinating. You still can live in some, God-forgotten village. No one can pronounce maybe the name if you are not Lithuanian, and still working for some similar company like Barclays, and after that even maybe running engineering department, which is not necessarily only, call center where you're serving customers, answering, how can I help you, and only maybe doing some simple activities like changing password for someone, but rather than just creating a systems which I implemented, which we had developed here and maybe implemented across the world. So this was what drove me, and probably even my current company I am representing, Littlefuse, is also exactly one of the paths there. So you still have a lot of challenges around. You have multinational teams and different team members across the world, but you are still there. So mainly you have international experience, and in my career, I haven't been leaving Lithuania for longer than 6 months. So I'm not saying it's definitely the recipe everyone needs to consider, but I'm saying that always it's more important to think what is your goal, what you want to reach, and what are the paths there. So leaving the country can be one of the options to reach your goal. Similar also, some paths can exist that you can reach those goals also without leaving the country. So I'm not saying that it's panacea or recipe saying, if you're staying in Lithuania, you cannot get international career, or you cannot, feel, still challenges, and also baseline of what does it mean to be there. So,
speaking international, how many countries do you have right now under your command? You're leading the global teams of how many countries?
Yeah, so if at least to count where the team members are located, because some of the locations are bigger offices or smaller ones, some of my team members are working from home office. So at the moment, I would say definitely it is, of course, Lithuania and Kaunas, then it is Italy, then it is UK, and then it is Mexico. So these are the countries right now of the footprint of my team members who are working on the projects I am kind of supervising or accountable for.
What are your projects?
So projects are more coming also from the automotive sensors industry, so mainly creating and developing sensors which are used in cars, sometimes not only in the passenger cars, but more like it can be also some tractors and bigger ones, but mainly it's passenger car automotive sensor development department, where we are trying to get those created for the various worldwide known brands of automakers. I cannot name all of those there, but I would say, there are quite many luxury segment cars that have products which were developed and created in Kaunas and by this international team, and are even produced and manufactured in Kaunas. However, of course, you cannot find it like on a dashboard said, made in Kaunas. However, if you would dismantle that car, you would find some pieces which would say, made in Lithuania. And it is one of also of the driving things, I think, that drive myself and my team, knowing if you see some car in the street, passing, and you know that, oh yeah, this model, I know this model has, the product we've developed. It's not only we manufactured, but we've developed, and it's there, and they are using it, and it was made, by my team.
So there's some national pride in it.
Yeah, I believe you always need to have still some things you need to be proud of. But it's more if it is a result. I personally don't think, is it to be proud of, saying, who has bigger account in some bank? Maybe for someone, yes, but I think it's more about results, your team achieved. And it's not necessarily your personal goals. It's more maybe, the tribe you are kind of a feeling being part of. So be it Lithuania, be it like Little Fuse, I don't know, be it Klaipėda, whatever, be it Europe, it just depends, to what kind of a level you see. But I definitely believe that pride and being proud of your results you have achieved is nothing bad to be proud of.
What would you say the most important thing is? Well, you mentioned the word tribe. What's the most important thing for you as a tribe leader to get your tribe to be productive?
So probably I would phrase that in a way, yeah, definitely I believe that what my goal is, first of all, to make sure that, the people who are working in the same area and kind of are within my business unit and my group have conditions and they can deliver their work what we would like to be there. But at the same time, also there are some things which unites us, maybe also spending a bit of time, not only like saying it's working hours from 8 to 5 and we kind of are developing new things, but maybe also spending a bit of time, in some free time, getting together, in some social event, I don't know.
What kind of social events?
Playing bowling or kind of getting, excursion and tour around Old Town of Kaunas with getting some guide, who is explaining to you and you are still kind of getting there with your team members. And it's just not necessarily saying, oh, everyone must spend, weekends together. So it is not like maybe Japan style, sacrifice for everything for your company, but it's still more finding a lot of things in common, which is not necessarily, saying that let's work on some sensor. And if we are not working on the sensor, we don't have anything in common, and there is nothing to talk about.
Alrighty then. Then the question would be, top 3 strip clubs in Kaunas are?
Yeah, I cannot tell that. At least we haven't been yet exploring that kind of exercises with the team.
Right, yeah.
And by the way, We have, and if someone is also from Littlefuse or from my team, we can say we usually do a voting, on the options we would be pursuing for like next month. So up till now, it was not on the also even offered, options to kind of a vote for that.
And you're welcome.
Thank you.
Which computer program would you say was the most important while revolutionizing the whole the world? Like, which software was the most important one? Which piece of software?
Yeah, so probably I will say that what is the biggest footprint, or what is the impact I think of the software which is doing, to our daily lives. So I would say it doesn't necessarily need to be like something from Microsoft, but just it comes to my mind, so if it is like Office package of all the applications like Word, Excel and similar ones, and everyone knows that at least I treat Excel, like a buzzword, you can do whatever you can think of, and sometimes you can find that also people manage to do with Excel some crazy things where even you cannot think that it might be working. So it, in a bit kind of an ironic term, I would say Excel is the one, which kind of a one size fits all.
The king of softwares.
in kind of a wider, society and kind of a computer user kind of a footprint.
Okay. So, and we're running out of time just about. The last thing. If you happened to be the student at this event, what would you most probably do? Where would you search for experience? Like, what would be your steps in this kind of event?
So yeah, it probably would depend, of what year of student, what year of student I am. Is
Third.
it like third?
Third.
Okay. So yeah, so probably I would be looking, for options, based on my interest, can I get like internship or some part-time job, on some of the companies around, and looking, is it something for me, maybe getting like flexibility still to study and still kind of to get the real practical experience there. And based on that, probably it would be at least my kind of pitch points, to look for similar options. Of course, I'm not already kind of raising the question what subject it would be, because probably definitely it would be something I am kind of already interested into.
Yeah, but I heard some job creators just talking, company people talking that there are not a lot of people that want the internship. They just want the money, and like the unpaid internship. Is it worth it?
Also, it depends on the goals, probably. So if it is, goal is more like just to earn money, so definitely unpaid internship wouldn't work. But if you're asking based on my experience, do we still have also those mixes, of even part-time job with some salary and also still internship for a very short period of time, joining the company for 1 month or 2 months, it still works around. So I think it's just based on the personal goals and also the same kind of thing of like definition of done. So what would you like to get, and what is the kind of a path to reach the result?
Thank you so many. Thank you so very much. Thank you so many times.
Also, thank you. Also,
draugai, Jovirdas Linkauskas buvo mūsų svečiuose. Ačiū jam labai.
Ačiū. Ačiū visiems.
Dėkui. Tai va, man dar reikia angliškai šnekėti, ar jau baigiam šitą cirką? Gerai, tai aš norėčiau dabar, kad mes visi, nes mes jau čia labai jums ačiū už kantrybę, kad jūs čia esate, kad mūsų klausote, bet mes jau kiek valandą nerūkė, tai gal mes jau dabar eikime, pailsėkime ir mes laukiame jūsų grįžtant 13:30. Ačiū jums labai uždėmesi.